Yeah, I actually had a conversation with my wife very early on in our relationship. And
this is a passion of yours.
But were you doing comedy at that time?
I was doing comedy at the time. I was dating my wife when the Tracy Morgan incident happened. I was dating her when the Little People thing happened. So I've been dating her since 2004 or 5, something like that. We got married in 2010.
At least you know that.
Know that for,
at least
for
get
sure.
the year right.
But we I'm like, this is not what I want to watch.
You should have smoked the pot.
And Tracy still does not have a shirt on. He rips open a giant bag of Cheetos. They're just laying across his chest and stomach. He's eating them. He's like, just look at this girl. I wish my wife could do that. And occasionally he would just look over at the mirror and look at himself and go, look at me now, mama. Look at me now. I know Lord Michaels. Oh, look at that girl.
You have water? Okay, good. All right, so 1, 2, 3. That was horrible. It's fine.
We are all white. Okay.
Have you seen The Jerk?
We don't have rhythm.
Yeah, The Jerk. Is so funny, Steve Martin. All right, well, welcome everybody.
Wait, I thought we were going to redo the clap.
All right, let's do the clap then. 1, 2, 3. Little bit better.
Slightly better.
All right. Psst. I mean,
All right. Psst.
welcome everybody to the Psst. Did you hear that podcast with me, Imre, Mehesz, and
Flow Funny.
And tonight we have Bobby Parker.
Yay!
Hey,
Bobby.
Thank you for having me. This is
Thanks for coming on.
Yay!
yeah, this is my first podcast. It feels like it's something I should have saved for my wife, but I'll let you guys have it.
Oops.
But is your wife a podcast host?
No, but I feel like I should.
Who wants the first?
Yeah.
Of course, Imre. You didn't know that? Is that why it hasn't worked out?
Yes, I started with the podcast. It never works out. All right, well, welcome to the show. This is pretty much it. We talk about mostly sex and comedy.
Perfect.
The best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Starting with you.
I'm an expert at both. If we're just focusing on
Nice.
me,
I knew we made a good choice.
Yeah, me and
Imre.
my wife. That's
We're ready for it,
We're-
Bobby.
Have I met your wife? I don't know.
After this, we might not.
You might have met her in passing. She
Just on the street.
Yeah,
that was
just-
Bobby's wife, but I wouldn't know.
and she followed me. She's right outside, just making sure everything's good.
Yes, you're going to this Eastern European guy's house in the middle of nowhere with jungle in the back. Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, there's jungle there for sure.
Yeah, you actually didn't put your phone in airplane mode. You put it in emergency mode. So they, when it bings, peeps, it tells everybody where you are.
Now, all I have to do is hit the button fast. I think 5 times, and it dials 911.
I did that
Did you?
because I get very frustrated if a technology doesn't do what I want to do, and I couldn't. YouTube started playing, and I couldn't turn it off, and I'm like, this piece of shit. So I started pressing the button, and all of a sudden called 911. I'm like, oh no. I didn't know that feature.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that 5 times.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like if I'm in an accident and I have to do that, I don't know if I could do it. You know what I mean? Like, because you are so all over the place when you get in a car crash or something.
I'm not calling.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like
Lay down. This is the end.
1, 2, 3,
Go out
4.
alone.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such a weird. Instead of I don't know what else would be better, but clicking it 5 times was actually a long time. And I was like a maniac.
I think it just pops up. Doesn't it pop up emergency if you need to do something? Or
I don't know. I've never actually had to use it.
No, this is
Good.
Tonight is the night.
this? Yeah. We'll test it out tonight.
Let's say you are in a car accident and both your arms are cut off. How are you gonna call 911?
So this
Your
is
nose.
this is something I am not proud of. The day that I got my CPR certification card, I got a CPR certification card. I was driving home and I saw a car accident. And my first thought was, I don't want to stop. I'm so scared. They look fine.
It's funny. They're like you're in a restaurant and somebody is choking. And not me, not me. So I used to date a police officer when I was younger. And she constantly had to put her, like if we were in a bar and she was like, oh my gosh, I hope they're not going to fight because there was an argument. And she's like, she was off duty, but she said if there is something going on, she has to place herself on duty. And I'm like, oh my God, then I have to step up like the guy.
You're stepping up by dialing.
Yeah. Oh, hold on, honey. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, that's my police officer story.
Very nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. That did not get me into comedy.
What got you into comedy?
Oh, nice segue, Phil.
Yeah, smooth.
Great. I've always liked laughing. I mean, some people hate it, I guess, but I've just always been a fan of comedy. I had no idea that you could do it as a job on purpose. I had just the weird understanding that funny people will be found and put on TV or radio. And it's like, hey, just be funny outside or like in group settings. And eventually someone will tell you, hey, you're going to go on stage and entertain people. And that's not the way it works. I've learned. Enjoyed public speaking classes in college.
Me too.
Enjoyed, just hanging out with my friends, making people laugh, and then got into the corporate world and driving home from work one day. I'm like, I need something else. And I heard a commercial for the Comedy Zone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm like, I'm just going to go there right now and see if there's a show. And it was a Monday night. So zero chance of a show. And it was a local show.
So this was a long time ago.
They had
comedy every day.
Yep.
Right? Yep.
Every day. So it was a Monday night show. The first half was local comedians. The second half was an improv troupe.
Wow.
Okay.
And so that divide that is in the stand-up versus improv, that's I don't understand it. It's like an East Coast, West Coast rap thing. But it's there. I
understand it.
Yeah, it's there. And so I watched it and I saw some very funny people, but I also thought I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And then when the improv people came out, I saw some funny people. I also thought I bet I could do that.
Oh, interesting.
And so, like, I enjoyed it. I came back the next week. I'm like, hey, it's me again. I'm in the audience. And how do I do this?
Pick me.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so
So you started with improv?
I started with both. There was a stand-up workshop at the Comedy Zone, way back when.
Right.
And then the improv troupe also had classes, so I signed up for both, did both.
Yeah.
Enjoyed both.
I enjoy both.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me is like being bisexual. You know what I mean? Like, pick one already.
Yeah.
I like both.
Obviously. I mean,
I tried improv. It's I've said it many times. It's just not. I need control, and I was not good. I was whatever because I was the same persona as I'm on the stage. I'm not. I don't have that. Let me hype myself up for improv. But it was funny in that way that I was also deadpan the whole time. So it was funny in some of the scenes, right? But anyway, I'm a stand-up comic because I need control. I always say that.
Hey, I completely get it. There's a reason why I rarely do improv now.
Oh, okay. I can picture you doing improv for sure.
Yeah. And it's a blast. I love it. But meeting up with people to rehearse and come up with things because improv, everything's made up, but you also rehearse, so you get used to working with people. And I just didn't have the time to do that and do stand up and have family and one's got to go and so for a while I focused on stand up. Then I focused on improv because frankly it was more fun. We went to more festivals.
Sure.
So
did I see you in First Coast Comedy?
Yeah,
Is that where I met you?
I think so.
In a jam or something?
We probably met at a jam, and then I know we were both at the Christmas party.
That's it.
And
Why was I not invited to the Christmas party?
oh, I mean, we didn't want Krampus there.
Okay, so yeah, because I did first. No, I did another improv class with Creative Brains. That was I took 2 levels, I think, and it was fun. I had a good time. I definitely liked the camaraderie for sure. You know, it's just the.
But you were saying it was more fun at one point.
Yeah, it was because stand up, and this was a long time ago. This was early 2000s. So the stand up scene in Jacksonville was the Comedy Zone, and maybe there was like an open mic one other place.
Yeah.
So it was I could do. It was a weekly show, the Comedy Zone for amateurs, but I'm like, it was the same crowd, same comedians every time. It's great to work on material, but after a while, I get it. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to go that far back. Like even when I started 2017, 18, there were not a lot of mics. There was 2, maybe 3, if that, but not even. And now compared to that, we have like 11. Some of them are bi-weekly or whatever. We do have a lot of mics, and we do have a lot of shows.
Yeah, the stand-up scene in Jacksonville is so amazing right now.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's I feel like it's more cliquey than it was before. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, it was the Comedy Zone people and everybody else. And now, Comedy Zone opened up for everybody, which is awesome. But at the same time, we have groups of the beach people. The beach comics don't go to other mics. The downtown comics don't go to the beach mic, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So I feel like it got a little saturated, but whatever. I do enjoy. I think it's great that you can get on a mic every day, almost, except the weekends. Which I don't know how to fix the weekend mic problem.
Very, very true. Yeah, and also one thing, I was starting to get successful in stand up, and I quit.
You did?
I quit because I'm like, I don't know if I can deal with this. And it was Tracy Morgan that made me quit stand up.
Oh, okay.
So I found out that Tracy Morgan was going to be at UNF homecoming. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. It was Tracy Morgan and John Heffron. It was another fantastic stand-up.
Yeah.
And like, oh, great. I found out who was in charge of it. It was like, I was like a year or 2 into stand-up. And I called them. I'm like, hey, you don't have somebody bringing them on stage. I'll do that. You don't have to pay me. I'm happy to do it. Let me do like 5 minutes of jokes, kind of warm the crowd up. And I talked my way into opening for Tracy Morgan.
That is crazy.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
insane. All right.
Yeah. So it was their homecoming weekend. It was 2,000 people in the auditorium.
Oh my!
Because they're there to see Tracy Morgan for a free show. I had 5 minutes tops.
Right.
That's awesome.
So get there. It's me, my buddy who's with me. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna bring my friend. Yeah, great. So cool guy. Get there. Get to go backstage. It was the women's volleyball team locker room. That was our green room. Just kind of sitting there and like, oh, okay. John's here. Tracy's not here. But I was able to get up. I did 5 minutes. I got great response.
Nice.
I'm friends now with people that were at that show, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you were fine. You were funny." I'm like, "Oh, that's the only thing that mattered."
Yeah.
But I got to bring them up, and then afterwards, we're hanging out, and just watching the show. Tracy comes backstage, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna go out and party. You're gonna come with us." I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, and I was fairly recently out of college. I was still drinking and partying, and like not a big deal. I'm like, this sounds great. I get to go hang out with somebody on Saturday Night Live.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is cool. So we go, my friend's like, you're going to ride with them. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I wouldn't have said that. My friend's like, he's pushing me in the car. Like great, so in the car, it's not a limo. It's just a Lincoln Town car. I'm just in the middle of the back seat, just smashed between 2 comedians I love and I don't know.
That is
like,
crazy.
Hey
That's
guys,
crazy.
where are we going? And then we ended up at a club. It was like, I don't even think it's open around here anymore. Like Bourbon Street, I think it was called.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know.
It was like a giant club.
Riverside area, maybe?
I have no idea. I didn't drive.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not a
blindfolded with Tracy.
I'm not a club guy. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So we go, we get there. We walk right in because it's, there's actually a line, and the bouncer's like, yeah, come in, you're famous people. And
Right.
Wow.
I'm a hanger on. So I'm like, this is cool. So go in, we just get a table in the corner, order some beers, like talking about the show. I'm like, oh, cool. They're talking shop, and I'm just sitting there thinking, man, I'm the coolest guy ever. I'm sitting here with them. Like, I'm going to run to the restroom. So I went to the restroom. I came back. There's no one at the table. Like, uh-oh.
They ditched you?
They left me. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I kind of wander, and there's a dance floor. There's like a big, like, elevated area with the DJ on it, and they're up there. And they're dancing, and they're girls dancing all over. And Tracy looks down. He's like, "Hey, fat boy, you come up here with me. He's my boy." I'm like, hey guys. So I got to go up there and just sitting up there dancing. I'm like, I don't know why I'm up here. I'm like, this is cool. But like, this is not what I enjoy.
Yeah, right.
And Tracy, he rips off his shirt and just starts hugging me. He's like, "Welcome to show business, fat boy. Yeah, you're gonna love this."
Wow.
I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, here's beads, and like, throw the beads to the girls. I'm like, I don't like, I don't like I like drinking, but this is a bit much for me. I'm like,
beyond
I need to
drinking.
go home.
like this is a bit much. So like, you want drinks? They're on me, man. And he's like, okay, I'll have a water.
How old is he at this time? I'm wondering.
This was probably like 2006 or so. So
Should I Google how old he is right now?
sure, yeah.
Because I'm wondering, like that's anyway.
Yeah. So then, we come down off this elevated dance area after a while. We've got like a VIP booth, and we're sitting there, and Tracy just whips out this joint. And I'm like, pot's still illegal in Florida.
Right. It was illegal everywhere else.
Yeah. And I'm like, but I'm like, I've seen marijuana, but not in public before. I'm fairly, I'm very conservative. I'm very straight laced. I'm like, why you have that? Oh, okay. And he's like, I need a light. And like an off duty, like security guard, police officer guy just leans over and lights it for him.
Wow.
Like, okay, we can do anything. Like, rules don't apply today. And he's like, and he passes me the joint, and I just like hand it to the next person. I'm like, I don't like. I'm scared to even touch it right now. Like, the security guard's still looking at us, and now I'm the guy with it, and I'm not famous. Like I
know that guy.
I'm the one that's going to be arrested.
Right.
And so then, we're there, and, the club starts closing down. I'm like, okay, good. My buddy's here. Hey, we can go home. And Tracy's like, we're going back to my room and we're going to party. I'm like, what? My friend's like, you've got to go. I'm like, I don't think I want to. He's like,
that is crazy.
You've got to go. I'm like, oh, okay. So we get back in the car, Lincoln Town car again.
Too bad your friend couldn't go with.
He followed us.
Oh, good.
Oh, he followed us the entire time. Yeah,
good.
Which is great. He loved it.
Did he record this? Because
he did not. This I think this was actually like the year before iPhones came out.
Oh, it's like there were no smartphones.
Yeah, so
Those were the
like
days.
they had cameras on phones. I think there might have even been some video recordings on phones, but nothing worthwhile. And then. We're in the car, Heffron, he's like, hey, just drop me off at my hotel. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'd like to go. He just wants to talk about jokes. I want to talk about jokes.
Wow.
And Tracy's like, no, we're going back to my place at La Quinta Inn. Like, La Quinta Inn. in the La Quinta Inn off of Bay Meadows in Jacksonville. Like this, like the worst La Quinta Inn in the world. Yeah. We get there, you know, we get up to his room. It's a second floor room. And
second floor.
Second floor, the top floor.
Yeah.
Top floor of La Quinta Inn.
The suites.
Yeah, the suites. We get there, you know, walk in Tracy's room. It's just lined with liquor bottles. And he's got this giant suitcase on his bed. He's like, you guys got to check this out. It's like me, my buddy, his assistant, and like one other guy. I don't know how we picked this guy up. And he just opens his suitcase and it's just full of porn. Like just giant, like he travels with a giant suitcase full of porn. And he's like, yeah, I got the DVD player hooked up. Check out this girl. Look what she does for all these guys. I'm like, this is not what I want to watch.
You should have smoked the pot.
And Tracy still does not have a shirt on. He rips open a giant bag of Cheetos. They're just laying across his chest and stomach. He's eating them. He's like, just look at this girl. I wish my wife could do that. And occasionally he would just look over at the mirror and look at himself and go, look at me now, mama. Look at me now. I know Lord Michaels. Oh, look at that girl. And just go. And I'm just kind of sitting there, you know, drinking a bottle of water. You know, my friend, he's laughing the entire time.
You're just like, what?
I'm just like, I don't know if this is right. Like this is not what I signed up for. And then someone knocks on the door and a whole bunch of strippers walk in. I don't know if Tracy Morgan has a bat signal or just say, hey, Tracy Morgan's in town. All the whores, please show up.
Probably.
Right? And so, you know, we're sitting there like it was a white guy that had platinum teeth. He's like, yo, man, I need you to hold something for me. I'm like, no, I will not. I'm going to stand here by the door and be really uncomfortable for a while. My friend, he's talking to all the strippers. He's enjoying himself beyond measure. I'm sitting there very uncomfortable. Tracy's eating Cheetos. And finally, there's this explosion of Cheetos, and he's just banging on a bathroom door going, don't you OD in there, you whore! And I grabbed my friend and pulled him out, and we're leaving. And it was 5 a.m.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
You thought every comedy night was like this?
Well, so I'm like, oh man, like this is rough. You know, got home, slept. I'm like, oh, you know, it was a crazy experience. Then like 2 weeks later, I was at the Comedy Zone opening for Pauly Shore. Right.
Wow.
And Pauly brought his own opener with him. And, you know, and I was talking to that guy, and he's like, oh, blah, 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 you know, Pauly's doing this, Pauly's doing. I'm like, I had the worst experience like 2 weeks ago with Tracy Morgan. He's like, oh, let me guess. He had to go to a club, had to go back to his room. He had a whole bunch of porn. Strippers showed up. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's like every night. I'm like, no, no, I'm going to tag out right now. It was fun. I still did some stand up, but I'm like, I'm just going to move to improv because there seems to be a lot less hookers. And so I, you know, focused on improv and acting and did some commercial stuff and started actually getting back into the stand up probably about the time you were like 2018.
Yeah.
And
because that's when I remember you first time.
Yeah. And like, oh, okay. You know, I've done this, but I've been on stage a lot, and I'm just going to do all new stuff now.
Right.
Kind of got my life in order where I want to be. And yeah, I'm happy with that.
But not with Tracy Morgan sounds like, but that is that's a crazy story. How long? I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I think we can wrap it up now. I would do this story.
No.
Bobby was holding on to this story. I'm going to say this on the podcast one day. And this is it. I'm like, kept checking the mic. I'm like, is it recording? Is it recording? This is an insane story. Wow.
Yeah, that's rare.
That's what I'm waiting for. I've been doing it for like 6 years. I'm like, when is this going to happen? And Bobby had it the first night. 5 minutes of comedy.
Like, hey, just dumb confidence. Oh, hey, you're doing a show. You don't want to go on stage. Let me.
Yeah.
It was just that dumb, confident statement.
Right. I didn't know who he was until Rock 30 Rock.
30 Rock, yeah.
But you just described him, and that's exactly what he is.
He was not acting on that show.
I can see that.
I think they just convinced him he had a slightly different last name and just followed him around.
Right. Hey, can you just be yourself?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
We'll ride the show around it.
30 Rock.
With
That's a
Tina
show.
Fey. Oh my gosh, you don't know that? You don't know. All right. 30 Rock is a show about Rockefeller Center, Rockefeller building.
It's
NBC. NBC or
it's NBC because it was Tina Fey.
Tina Fey and
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. It was huge. It's really, really funny. And Tracy Morgan. It's a funny show. But man, that is an insane story.
That's
wow.
insane. Wow. But that kind of fucked you up, though.
Oh yeah. This is.
I mean, I can see that.
This is not the lifestyle I want at all.
Right.
I like
So
making
like,
people laugh.
Yeah, like no.
But
This ain't it. This ain't it.
But now you are back at it, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Here
like
we
Queens
are.
are in, Reset, Southside.
yeah,
Back around.
yeah, it's great. I think it was like a major blessing in disguise because I was able to like sit back, find out what's important in my life, what makes me happy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I can like make comedy off of that.
Yeah, right.
And there's so many people who are unhappy, and I talk about my insecurities and the things that make me unhappy, but just making people laugh and going home and loving the life that I have. That's perfect.
awesome.
Yeah.
And you are a clean comedian.
Yeah,
mostly.
mostly.
Yeah.
I have a couple things here or there that I won't do in church shows.
Yeah, right.
But
So-
you do church shows?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
because
hard.
you can. Like I would do church shows if I could.
If you do, right? Yeah, I'm too dirty for that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've got a show coming up on June 1st. If this podcast is not out before then, that's okay.
No, it's not.
That's fine. So it is an amazing show on June 1st at Murray Hill Theater. You're going to be very sad you missed it if you're listening to this now. But my church is actually getting together and like buying a big block of tickets.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
it's cool. They're going to see me do some stuff that I won't actually do at our church. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's another show. Is it Mike Fried?
Yep.
So he started this. This is gonna be. I don't know. He started recently.
Yeah.
So it's clean.
Yeah.
It's purposely clean comedy, right?
Yep.
So I think it's called clean comedy or something.
Yeah.
I've heard.
And that's a theater that does like exclusively like Christian
That's
concerts.
the theater. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exclusively Christian concerts, Christian musicians, comedians. So they've got a very strict
Sure.
message about what
right.
they can do. So yeah.
They are just not just a venue.
Right,
They
right.
have
Yeah.
a
That's
goal.
their mission. Yeah.
Yeah, mission. Yeah. All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
cool.
Do you want to talk about your path? How you got to the Vegas stuff?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I was just in Las Vegas for the Pop-Up Comedy Festival. It's the first Pop-Up Comedy Festival. I hope there's more because it was a blast and it was like a bucket list thing. And so to explain kind of what it was and how I got there, just looking at shows on Facebook, on Instagram, things like that, I saw something pop up. It was like, Kenan presents, stand-up comedy. It's Kenan Thompson from Saturday Night Live. And it's like, hey, we're going to have a show in Tampa, show up, sign up for this showcase, send us some stuff. And, if we like you, we'll let you on. It was like, yeah, sure. Like, does it cost anything to submit? So it's submitted, and Tampa was like, yeah, come on down. You'll have 4 minutes. Like, yay, 4 minutes.
4 hours, 4.5 hour drive for a 4-minute set. Yeah.
And we've all done it, or close to it, equivalent. Oh yeah, I'm gonna drive across town to do a 3-minute set somewhere. I'm like, oh, but it opened the door because I got to meet some comedians there and got to work in a club I've never worked at. And All right. Sorry. And
you were good. I was just
Okay.
You can sit comfortably. I was just
Yeah, you can sit wherever. Just move the mic closer.
I'm always uncomfortable. I think that's one of the things we need to focus on. So,
hookers, come on in.
yeah.
rock on. I'm gonna call my wife.
The same hookers.
10
years older.
Oh my.
Same one.
Ugh. Yeah. They would probably be day hookers at this point. I understand those are much worse.
They're probably nurses, something.
Yeah. So, so in Tampa for the shows, for the show, 4-minute set, and it was good. It was fun. I got emailed say, hey, we're going to do some more of these in Atlanta. So I said, oh, okay. So drove up to Atlanta, and performed there one night, at the Atlanta Comedy Club in Norcross. Or Norcross, I don't know how it's pronounced.
Okay, so wait. So you went to Tampa to perform your 4-minute.
Right.
So was that some kind of a bucket system, or you could perform everywhere for 4 minutes, and then they pick somebody who moves forward?
So you could sign up to perform anywhere.
Oh, okay.
So that was just the closest one,
Sure.
the one I'd heard of. And then I was emailed like, hey, we're also doing this in Atlanta. Do you want to come do a set in Atlanta? And it was, again, same showcase format. The only reason I was emailed is because like they knew I was in Jacksonville and it's fairly close.
Sure, yeah.
And like, we'd love to have you. So went up and did another 4-minute set there. A month or two later, they said, hey, we're doing a clean comedy brunch, at this club. You'll do like 6 minutes.
There you go.
So,
the minutes are adding.
all right. Like, yeah, let's go. So, went up and it wasn't just a day trip. I went up and spent the night that time.
Sure.
Got some friends in the area.
So wait, where was that? Was that Atlanta?
Atlanta that time.
Okay.
And then they said, hey, we're going to do this instead of like a 1 day, 1 show kind of thing. We're setting this up in Vegas as a comedy festival. So if you submit, I was told, we'll guarantee that you'll perform, but, there's no promises like how much time. Like,
could be a 4-minute, or 6 if you're lucky.
So I submitted, and it came back it's like, yes, you can perform. We've had so much participation, so many people want to do this, that we're going to have 2 shows on Friday night. Each show is going to have like 30 comedians, and each person gets 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, well,
2 minutes.
2 minutes. I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to perform in Vegas.
Sure.
It's a bucket list thing. It's at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club.
Right.
I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna meet people. And by the way, this is my absolute nightmare, is going there and not knowing people and networking and being a social butterfly. I'm not a social butterfly. Right. I'm very much a wallflower. So I was uncomfortable the entire time, again, running theme.
Yeah. So you don't like hookers and meeting new people.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what's happening.
That's why it's so hard for you that first time.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I like hanging out with my wife, going on stage, making strangers laugh, and then going back and just hanging out with my wife and my kids. Yep, that's all I need.
That's sweet. All right, keep going with the Vegas story.
All right, so we get out there. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm here for the entire time, because they said, there might be other opportunities, but we're not going to guarantee anything.
You went by yourself?
Went by myself.
I mean, he's over like 14, so he can do these by himself.
We talked a lot about my wife coming out with me. It would have been a very nice trip. However,
hiring a babysitter for 4 days, it's a lot.
Yeah, we could pawn the kids off on grandparents.
Oh, okay.
The older kids could actually watch the younger one, but you would miss soccer games and stuff like that. Like,
it's a good parent. You're a good parent.
Like, it's more important that my wife's here for my son, and
Sure.
she coming hanging out with me and like not seeing me because I'm going to be in a comedy club with comedians. And
Right. I'm sorry, honey. I have to work on my 2 minutes.
yeah, like please go run around Vegas and don't visit whores. I mean,
It's just really hard if you've been to.
yeah. Right. So got there, I was able to visit a friend of mine who lived out there. So got to have lunch with him on Friday, and Friday night was the show. 2 minutes, I did really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I've learned that for little things like that, especially industry things where they said, there's going to be industry scouts there. Usually they only give like 30 seconds to a minute for industry auditions. So I'm like, well, they're giving us 2 minutes. So, it's nice. It's more time, but let's rewrite stuff. I want to laugh in the first 5 seconds. So
Sure.
I spent the entire weekend like, okay, how can I rewrite this? How can I get as many punchlines as I can while still being myself?
That's pressure.
Yeah.
And so did well Friday night. Was told Friday night, hey, you're going to perform later this weekend, but we don't know when. And so Saturday, hanging out.
So wait. So Friday you did not perform?
I performed on Friday night, did well.
Because that was the promise,
Yep.
promise, right? Like you will perform at least once. Okay.
At least once. And then I was told, okay, you're going to perform later this weekend. We just don't know when.
All right.
Like, all right. So, Saturday, hanging out in the club, meeting the industry professionals or people there from like America's Got Talent. And, there's like a management team there, like for actors and comedians who are much more experienced and known than I am. So, met them. They told us things like you need to have like the social media presence, electronic press
EPK,
kits, EPKs, all the fun acronyms.
Yeah.
And it was cool learning that, again, meeting people well out of my comfort zone. and then Kenan got in town, so he hadn't been to any of the previous shows I'd been at. Has his producers handle it, which is great. He's been to a lot of the cities, just with his schedule he couldn't always come.
Right.
But he's there. He's hosting shows. With backstage, and I was told, okay, you're not actually performing tonight on Saturday. You're going to perform tomorrow. We've decided to have a clean comedy section. So
Nice.
Okay, works for me. And they're like, you're going to have 6 minutes.
Oh.
Like,
There you go.
all right. Like this.
I mean, that's 8 minutes already in Vegas.
8
That's
minutes
crazy.
in Vegas.
Yeah.
2 different days. So I performed twice in Vegas.
You technically opened for yourself on Friday, and then Sunday, watch my 6 minute set.
Exactly.
No, that's amazing. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
So and then Sunday, was there, had the show. I did well, and it was, and other comedians also did great. They, Kenan hosted the actual show.
Oh wow!
So I was on stage with him at the end. Got to get a picture with him, and he's very complimentary, very very nice guy. The exact opposite of Tracy Morgan. He did not have any hookers. He did not offer me a joint. So it was very very different experience. And actually, one of my wife's friends from middle school showed up at the show and was able to get a couple pictures. So I got to see. I'd never met her. My wife hadn't seen her since like high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
That's cool.
was neat.
Yeah.
And neat. That's the great adverb, right? Yeah, it's awesome. But and it was cool. And again, a lot of people met. Got to see a lot of other people. I've been told that I might get to fly to other cities and host these events for people. And going forward, so more Kenan presents shows. I may get to host. Yeah, so
That's great.
There's a lot of other great comedians. So I'm not going to hold my breath for it, but it's an opportunity that might happen. And I've been seeing that some of the comedians who did really, really well got to go and like actually hang out at Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So like, oh man, that's awesome.
Nice.
It was great. It's great.
Yeah. So
Awesome. So long story
Congrats.
short, now you are writing for Saturday Night Live. So congratulations.
Yeah. Long story short, I've got my own show on Netflix.
No, this is amazing. Like, this is crazy.
Very cool.
And I'm just so happy because, I've known you for several years now. I didn't know about the Tracy story. But, I didn't know you were on that level early on. Because to me, that's what it is. That's when you make it, right? You hang out with Tracy Morgan and the hookers.
Yeah. Yeah,
But that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to like open for some really awesome people, meet some awesome people. I got to feature once or twice before I quit,
okay.
and started back up. So now I'm just I think I'm getting back to that level. But we're talking about fun stories. So
Yeah, right.
I was featuring down at Bonkers in Orlando.
Yes.
Right. So I was there. It was in a hotel. I was staying at the hotel. Yeah. And had shows on like Friday night. So did that. Saturday morning they're like, oh, you have free breakfast at the hotel. I'm going to take them up on it.
Right. I always take them up.
Yeah.
on it.
It's breakfast and I like food.
Yeah.
So yes.
Hello.
So
Yeah.
I go in. It's restaurant style seating and I'm at a table, but all the other tables are full. And there's a little person at every table.
Okay.
Like,
I understand.
yeah.
Not kids.
Not
the same size.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dwarfs, little people.
Dwarfs.
I
Is that allowed to say dwarfs?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Which ones were midgets or dwarfs? I don't know.
Yeah.
One or the other. Yeah.
Little people.
I don't want to be offensive.
Yeah,
It's
right.
just it was just you're sitting at a restaurant. There's like 12 tables, and each table has a little person. And it's just one of those things you notice. I'm like, what is this?
Right.
Like, this is not something you normally see.
And then Willy Wonka comes out from the kitchen. It's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I thought I was going to be issued one because I can make small talk. That's an awful joke.
Yes.
But I've got a book. I was going to read during breakfast, but I'm just kind of looking around. And the waitress notices that I'm not. like you're uncomfortable. I said yes.
I'm always uncomfortable.
I'm always uncomfortable, but this time there's a question. And I'm like, can you tell me what's going on? Like, is this all one family? Is it one
that's
group?
what I was thinking. Yeah.
And she told me, she's like, no, there's a conference right now. And a prominent little person had passed away. So they're having a conference and kind of a funeral at the same time. So like there was a bunch of little people. It was just a surreal experience. Okay, I didn't know little people had conferences, but it makes sense. Like, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was a weird, just a weird thing. And later that night during a show, I was hanging out while the headliner was on. This little lady walked up and started chatting me up. And I'm like,
And little whores came out.
yeah, bunch of little whores. I can't get away from them.
No, I'm really uncomfortable.
She's talking and she's nice, but she had braces on, and I'm like braces don't mean that you're young or old, because there's certainly people,
Right. Yeah.
older with them. But I'm like, I can't tell how old you are. Like you're short, and which you're a little person, but you also just have that look where you could be anywhere between 15 and 40. Like I've got no like
I definitely heard about this problem with many people.
So I just want to casually mention, like, oh yeah, like my girlfriend who's now my wife, but I want to bring up my girlfriend over and over.
Sure,
like
yeah.
I've got a girlfriend, I've got to talk to him. Like, I want to have polite conversation, but I'm like, I don't know if you're hitting on me or like. I don't know what the rules
At a
are.
funeral, though? Like,
Yeah.
They're lonely. They're lonely at that time.
Yeah. It was just very surreal experience. I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but there's a swarm of little people in this hotel lobby right now, and you're talking to me like I'm getting looks from all of the other little guys, like you're like I'm just sitting here, like I think I'm
just wants one thing.
like I just want a little strange.
Oh my god!
I don't know where. Like, this is weird. It's just,
I mean, it sounds pretty weird.
yeah.
So what was the end?
The end. I'm like, I've got to go back in here. You should come to the next show. She's like, oh, I'm not old enough. I'm like,
knew it.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Yeah, you made the right call. Yeah,
Yep.
If you don't know, it's under.
Yep.
That is great. Wow. I don't have anything like that story.
No.
Somebody accused me to steal a cell phone one time after a show when I performed and I killed it. I was like, all right, that's great.
Did you steal it?
No,
Okay.
of course not. I'm like, it's always the foreigner. It was a hilarious experience. I made a joke about it because the waitress came after me. I was like, and I did really well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna sign some tits. That was my first. I made a joke out of it. That's what my first thought was. And she was like, "Did you take the phone off the table?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like I didn't even know, and they found the phone. But I'm like, "What the heck?" I just performed like 10 minutes prior, right? And she thinks that I swoop around and steal cell phones. It was hilarious. I mean, it's always the foreigners, like they are stealing the phone.
Oh no.
It's funny.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. All right. So bonkers.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, bonkers was bonkers. It's that.
Wow. So here's the thing. Do they make smaller braces? I guess you can just use a child brace. Braces or something.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
I think there's no good way to say this, but I think their heads are the normal size. Yeah, most.
So there are different. There are
Right.
different type of little people. Like there are smaller with bigger heads, and there are smaller that are just genetically smaller people. Like they're small, but they are proportional and everything. I don't know
Or
what
bigger
that.
heads.
No, that's what I said earlier.
Smaller but bigger than normal
Yes.
people.
So I don't know
bigger
what
than yours.
much bigger. I have a small head. I actually am a big person with a small head,
Me too.
a child head, child size head.
I'm just large, all in the wrong spots. So yeah.
But at least that did not make you want to quit comedy. You know what I mean? That
After
was
that.
a weird experience.
Like what the
But
hell?
yeah, you have some crazy stories, that's for sure. I mean,
I have a question. Like in your first year or two of comedy, how much did you dedicate to comedy?
Oh, that's a great question. Not as much as I should have. I thought about it a lot. I learned to get very comfortable on stage in front of people. Like that was never a big deal being on stage in front of people.
Yeah.
But I learned how to be more expressive, kind of, different ways to talk to people while on stage. But I didn't write as much as I should have.
How often do you think you did?
How often?
Like in your average week, were you writing, and how often were you on stage?
Oh, on stage way back then, probably once a week.
Because we're in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, once a week, exclusively at the Comedy Zone.
yeah.
Because I didn't really have any other options. But
Was that the Saturday thing at the time, or was there an actual?
there was a Saturday workshop, and there was it was Monday night amateur night.
Okay.
Is what they did.
Okay.
So it was the first half was stand up, second half improv, and you could pretty much, once you were in the workshop for a week or two,
Get up there.
get on stage. So once a week, and then I learned that the improv folks were performing like 3 or 4 times a week. And like, oh, okay, I can go do that and be on stage more, have more fun. I'm playing around with friends. So I did that more. Should have written more, but I was having fun, and being on stage was more important.
Yeah.
Right.
And I got to learn how to, I think, riff a lot more. So
Yeah.
I mean, no, it did help me. So the classes did help me, just not to be afraid, or nothing is gonna happen. I mean, I was pretty comfortable already being just on stage, but talking to the audience was always my bigger problem. Now I don't mind doing it.
Right.
It's not my thing because I'm not an improv comic.
right.
I like to
I
write.
love improv though.
Yeah. Like I do like to write, and the first 2-3 years I wrote religiously. Like I wrote a lot more than I do now. But I have more experience writing, so I don't have to. I mean, I probably should sit down and write, but I write differently now.
Oh,
Something happens in life, I write about it, and then back in the day, I picked a word a day or two, and then I was writing. You know what I mean? Like I literally just tried to write jokes out of nothing, which is also great. I mean, I love that process. But
bless you.
bless you.
Thanks.
I wanted to say that for so long, but I'm like, I can't stop Imre.
You definitely can stop because
No.
I can talk forever if I want to.
No, but it's very different now. Writing is so much easier, I think. Before, when first starting, it was like, hey, what's a joke? What can I? What's here? What's here? And now I'm like, hey, this bad thing happened. It makes me upset, or makes me happy. Dumb facial expression. Okay, I've got this formula down.
Right.
Like, oh, all right, yay!
Yeah.
I found this news out. Uh-oh. People respond to it. Hey, I absolutely try to be more clever, but I'm like, oh, I got this news. Where does this fit into my set? How can I add this to a joke I have, and then build on that and make my own, another 5-minute segment.
Yeah. And that's awesome. I mean, that's how I build. I have if I have a one-liner and then I dig up something from a long time ago and I put them together, and slowly they grow into something bigger.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, to have a set. You have 5-10 minutes on one topic, and you just keep going through the topics, and you have an hour.
Yeah.
So what next? You don't have any albums or specials, right? So you think it's time?
Yeah,
Maybe?
it is absolutely time. I actually do want to record a longer set and break it up into little segments for the TikToks and the Instagrams, so I can start building that social presence that is very important, and something that I am not. It's not something that motivates me, but I know that it's going to help me get on stage in the future, so I can use that for motivation.
All right, so it's hookers, meeting new people, and social media.
Yeah.
And you feel uncomfortable.
That's my kryptonite right there. Hookers, new people, social media. And oddly, all three of those pretty much are the same thing, because I'm on Instagram and new people and hookers seem to DM me.
Yes.
That's funny.
They don't DM me, but they friend request me. And then I look at how many mutual friends we have. And it's the same 4 to 15 people. I'm like, this is an obviously fake profile. And these are all comics who are mutual friends. I'm like, why do you guys even match the person or whatever? It's
they all seem to know the same comics, and they all seem to know the one who happens to be a doctor. I'm not going to throw names out there, but he seems to have a plethora of them.
Oh, yes.
I don't know, but it's funny because I automatically, if we don't have any mutual friends, I know it's I don't even bother just looking at it. I usually have a rule we have to have 100 mutual friends. But sometimes,
To add them?
Mhm.
Wow.
if somebody friend requests me,
Are we talking on Facebook or Instagram?
yeah, Facebook. Is
Oh.
Instagram as this? You can add people on Instagram? I don't know. Whatever. Oh, yes, you can, of course. No, I'm not even joking. I'm a Facebook. Facebook is my generation of site. Instagram I can kind of get, but nothing. The real stuff that you made me do the other day, I'm like, oh my God. but
Good
it was.
job, Imre. Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
It just distorts the video a lot, so that's why I don't like it.
What?
Yeah,
It shouldn't.
it did, but oh well, I mean, whatever. But social media it's funny because I'm a software guy, right, by
Right.
day, and social networks can't get it. I'm like, I don't understand. What was the other one? The yellow one, Snapchat.
It's Snapchat.
I
yeah.
never use
Oh
that.
my! I could not figure that thing out.
That's for people who just don't want their stuff to be really known. It's more of like a small private friends, and
Oh,
then
really?
it's gone the next day. They
In
don't
theory.
In theory.
Oh, it's
In
never
theory.
gone. Once you upload anything to the internet, it's not. It's somewhere on the servers because that's how servers work. They just store, archives, everything. Yeah.
I never got into Snapchat, but I have like friends that like they don't do anything else but Snapchat, and I'm like, it's not like a, a public thing where people can go and check out your stuff because it's deleted the next day.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's for more private people or something. I don't know.
I mean,
As a parent, I am aware of Snapchat, and my wife has it because she was monitoring the older kids' use of it as much as she possibly could.
Yeah,
Probably
sure.
have other accounts. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
they probably do, but they're technically adults now, so
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
22.
yeah.
oh,
before.
okay. Oh, I
Can't do
missed.
much about that. Yeah.
No,
I missed that conversation. What are you
Oh,
saying?
that must have been before we recorded.
Oh.
I was
Yeah,
asking him about
Oh.
his kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got two older stepkids, 24, 22. Well, about to turn 24. Yeah, 24,
Yeah.
22. And then a 10-year-old that I made.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I highly recommend that.
Okay,
That's,
so how do you balance? I mean, the kids are older, but how do you balance the family stuff with comedy? Like,
that is the
lot.
big one right there.
Supportive wife.
Very
you gotta have a supportive
Yeah.
person.
very
Yeah.
supportive
Yeah.
wife. My wife, her name is Jocelyn, is the most amazing ever. Absolutely in love with her. So I like to bring that up. If not,
Aw.
she'll hit me. That is not true. I do love her. She won't hit me.
Clear.
This is what I'm gonna post. I love her. She won't.
Your first TikTok.
Yeah, I'm gonna show up next week with a black eye. Like,
This is what I'm gonna do. Hookers. Midget hookers.
Your wife.
I met my wife. She was underage. She had braces. She happens to be a little person.
You want to do Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan introduced us actually.
10
Yeah,
years
like,
later.
yeah.
Day whore.
Yeah, like her brother is a guy with platinum teeth. He asked me to hold on to something. I said, "Yeah." I got his sister. Like, who knew? So
that was fun.
100% supportive wife, and I honestly have skipped opportunities for family stuff. And
You kind of have to. When you're a parent, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but now my older kids are older. My 10-year-old, he is starting to love theater, musical theater.
oh,
I
that's
have-
awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing, great. They're the family is musically talented, not me, but they have that. They enjoy being on stage doing that. So he's starting to understand, like, oh, people can't go see everything
Yeah.
and do everything.
Oh,
so,
I see what you mean.
So it's like, oh, like I might miss one of his shows. Like he's in a production. He's going to be on stage like 5 times in a week. I'm like, I'm not going to get to some of those. I've got some things I have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so he's starting to see that and
Right.
understand it. So it's good. Still try to be there as much as I possibly can, but I think the family situations where I can start traveling a bit more,
Yeah.
going out and doing some shows. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
worked out. So it's the best of both worlds for me right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yay.
But that's the thing. You definitely need a supportive backing
Oh,
of
yeah.
partner.
You have to.
Not even just support. Just let you do it. You know what I mean?
That's support.
I mean, I get, that's kind of a support. Like, instead of pushing, you're like, hey, I signed you up for an open mic or something. But no, because I dated a couple of girls and they either
Yeah.
didn't care or they didn't like it at all,
Right.
And I mean, comedy survived like so many relationships. Like I did sacrifice relationships because of comedy, because I'm like, it's just something I gotta do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what else to do.
My life.
Like, I do a lot of other things, but comedy was in the past 6 years. It's been there for me all the time.
I'm not gonna end comedy for
Yeah.
a girl who wants me to sit on the couch with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with my wife very early on in our relationship. And
This is a passion of yours.
But wait, were you doing comedy at that time?
I was doing comedy at the time. I was dating my wife when the Tracy Morgan incident happened.
Okay.
I was dating her when the Little People thing happened. So I've been dating her since 2000 and
Don't fuck this
4,
up.
5,
Don't fuck this up.
something like that.
Recorded.
We got married in 2010.
At least you know that.
Know that
At
for
least
for
get
sure.
the year right. Yeah.
But we knew each other. I think we started dating around 2005-ish, 2006
Guys
maybe.
don't usually
Okay.
remember.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
That's a long time.
That's a
though.
long time.
yeah.
Almost 20 years. So.
Yeah. She's put up with me for a long time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I had that conversation. I'm like, I love comedy, and that has to come first. And then I got to know her more and absolutely fell in love with her. And I said, well, this comedy thing I love, but that's not going to come first.
Right.
You and the kids are.
Yeah.
And then I'll have
comedy
that
in there.
Yeah.
later.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah. The thing is, I used to hide that I do comedy, right? Like on my dating apps, you couldn't tell I was doing comedy. And then because I heard stories like the supportive partner, blah blah blah, I'm like, I'm gonna switch it. So now all you see is comedy, because regardless, they will find out.
Right.
And guess what happens when they Google my name? It's a psychopath talking on stage, murdering all the time. So and I totally get it. It's not for everybody.
But Imre, I feel like a lot of girls would find that interesting. Oh, comedian, he's funny.
Oh
And
yeah, they
would
find
like
it.
that.
No, comedian they find interesting. My comedy they do not.
Well, then it's not the right fit.
Yeah,
If
that's
they
what I'm
don't
saying,
get,
yeah.
that's good to lay it out there. Because if they don't
So
get
that's
it,
why I switched my approach. I'm like,
Yeah, I
hey,
see what you mean.
since the beginning, this is what I do. You
Yep.
can like it. It's a persona.
and if you
It's not
don't,
me.
Goodbye.
Right.
Right.
It's your persona, but it's also part of your personality. Like,
No, it is.
Like,
the darkness for sure.
Yeah,
I blame my parents. No, I'm just kidding.
I do too. That's why my comedy is dirty.
You think so? Oh, because your
my
parents
mom
are dirty?
Is disgusting. Yeah. I haven't seen
No,
the
she's
shit.
not. I met her before.
You haven't seen the stuff that I've posted with her saying?
now I need to know.
It's bad.
So she is a little person.
And she has braces.
And a large head.
She's type A, right? We're gonna get canceled after this. Bro.
Oh no. We love
No, no.
everybody. No discrimination. Yeah.
But yeah, the importance of you have to have a good back support. You can't do
Back
it.
support.
Or either it's you by yourself, you're a lone wolf,
Right.
Yeah.
or you have to have somebody who understands
Yeah. You're gonna
what's
be,
going
yeah.
on. And it's not the most important thing in the life, right? Like if I date somebody, of course we are dating and we are going places
No, yeah.
where I
it's-
do comedy.
You need to have a balance.
But you gotta have a balance, yeah. But it sounds like you have a good balance.
Yeah.
That's
You
awesome.
must be doing something right.
I try to.
I mean, we see once the money hits you and you gotta be in Miami or LA or Hollywood in 30 minutes, you're hopping on that jet.
yeah.
See you, honey. I'm out of here.
I will be on a private jet, beating on the bathroom door, going, "Don't you OD in there, whore!" Because I mean that's the lifestyle I want.
Yeah,
obviously,
Obviously, you were shooting for it since the beginning.
100%.
How can I go the most way around this and arrive at the same spot? I'm gonna do clean Christian comedy at churches if possible.
But occasionally we're gonna have whores.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about writing technique. We talked about social. What other aspects of comedy do we have?
Well, obviously drugs and hookers.
I mean, there is two. So, for example, I don't drink if I do a show, right? Because English is my second language or third. So it's hard as it is.
Right.
So I don't drink. After the show, everybody's already drunk. So I can either catch up, which I'm too old for now. Like if I get, drunk, it's just the next day is wasted, which is, I hate it. I don't want to waste time. Hangover stuff.
Painful.
So I don't drink and I don't do coke or whatever drugs are on the streets now. Crack, is that still around?
Fentanyl.
But fentanyl, I thought it was a poison or something.
It's something they do.
Fentanyl?
Yeah, people are dying from it. I think.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think it's a thing that they do.
Bobby probably doesn't know.
It is a
fentanyl.
It is a narcotic that can be cut into cocaine or heroin. It's like 1,000 times more potent. So a very small amount will kill you. But if you take the right amount, apparently it's supposed to be really good.
Or like a better.
I guess.
I don't know. What do you feel from cocaine? I don't even know what the weed I know. Yeah, sure. The mushrooms I know. Just crying. And what other drugs are there? Cocaine is the white powder.
Yeah.
Heroin, is that still around? Heroin?
Heroin's still.
There's
still
the needle
around.
one
Crystal
that you heat
meth.
up. Crystal meth, is that still around?
What do you do with that? Sniff it?
I don't know. I have crystals, but
according to Breaking Bad, you smoke it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Breaking
so-
Bad.
Oh,
I smoked it. That's right.
oh, okay. So that was crystal meth in Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
watched it a long time ago. I loved
Yeah.
it, and I don't want to rewatch it because I don't want to ruin how good that show was.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I could watch that one again.
Yeah.
I stopped where the girl was overdosing
Yeah.
and someone died. Like it's that once that show hit, I was like, I can't watch this.
I mean, it gets darker. The first
It's too
season
dark.
was
Got too
kind of
dark for me.
upbeat and funny,
It
and
was
then it just goes
amazing, yeah.
dark, like super dark.
and I was like, ooh, I can't.
Yeah, no, it's brutal.
Yeah. The first season, I'm like, oh yeah, it's Malcolm in the Middle's dad.
Yes,
yes.
He's in his underwear and he's cooking meth. This is funny.
Yeah.
And I told my now brother-in-law about it. I'm like, oh man, this show looks like a really good dark comedy. And we watched the first 2 episodes. I'm like, I think I'm out. like this isn't as funny as it should be.
Yeah.
And then years later, like when it was wrapping up, like everyone's like, you should probably just give it a chance. So I did watch it.
Oh,
like,
you finished it?
Yeah.
It had a great ending. One of the best shows ending.
Ending? Oh, I never got there. I just stopped right literally.
No,
when-
it was just a well-written ending, I think, to the
I
whole
didn't see the
series.
ending. I just-
Did you watch the prequel,
Yes.
Better Call Saul?
Better Call Saul. I thought it was a stronger show.
I think, yes. But I mean, they had the experience.
Right,
And
right.
it wasn't as dark, but it was twisted and stuff like that. So it was
I
good.
should see it. No.
No, it's just not, I don't think you would like it. That's how I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
You can try to watch it, but you don't like, I don't think you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very well written, very well acted. I don't think I'll watch it again just because I don't want to make that emotional commitment to it.
So it's funny because Better Call Saul, I would watch it again, but Breaking Bad, I probably wouldn't. I might watch it once I'm like 55 or something. I have nothing else to do. Or I'm sitting in an empty hotel room with no hookers and no Tracy Morgan. I'm like, all right, let me watch this show.
And I went back and watched Breaking Bad specifically for Saul because Bob Odenkirk is such an amazing comedic writer.
Yeah.
He is like the epitome of comedy writing. He's done so much. He basically turned that Chris Farley, Matt Foley character into the sketch.
Yeah.
And, he made that happen. That was him taking that character and making it work on stage, which is just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
He's just a genius writer.
Yeah. There are some good shows. Like I recently got into Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which was not even on my radar, but on the way home from Hungary, there was 5 or 6 episodes on the plane. And I started watching it, and after the third, I had to turn it off because I was laughing. I was by myself. I was laughing so loud that the people sitting next to me, they were like, what the heck is happening? It was so funny. But there are jokes in every 4th word is a joke. It's insane. Like the writing is crazy.
What this is this
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that
Yeah.
before.
No, it's just right now. I don't think there is a funnier show that I'm watching currently. Yeah.
I can't think of one.
And Flo does not have a TV or internet or electricity soon be shut off. So
Yeah, I don't have patience for TV
I don't blame you. I wish I
or
did.
movies.
yeah.
I like having sports on in the background while I try to do stuff, but I do get sucked in to watch shows, usually with my wife. That's fine.
Sure,
I
yeah.
enjoy it, but yeah, there are shows I just don't care about.
Right,
She's
right.
like, hey, let's watch this. I'm like, no, I'm tapped out. You can watch that one yourself.
I don't know what shows like I could not, but like I watched Emily in Paris twice. I'm watching Sex and the City now, which is like a super old show. But it's funny what they were like talking about back in the early 2000s. It's nothing. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, this is so weird. I'm like, what? And it was only 20 years ago.
I would not peg you as a Sex and the City guy.
Everybody's like, people are messaging me, are you really watching Sex and the City? I'm like, yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's funny.
I loved that show back in the day, but I don't know why you're watching it.
Because here's what I was thinking. I love Paris,
Okay.
the city Paris, right? So Emily Paris came out. I started watching it. I'm like, all right, this is pretty funny. They speak French in it a lot. So I'm like, I was learning French and stuff. I'm like, all right, let me watch it. So I watched it. I watched the whole 3 seasons. And then I'm like, oh crap, there is no 4th season yet. This was like a year ago. So I'm like, okay, by the time I'm going to rewatch the whole thing. And by the time I'm done, there will be a 4th season. I was finished the 3 season. It's still not out yet. I'm like, what else can I watch? So I picked Sex and the City. And here's the crazy thing. It's by the same producer. I think. Like either the same writer or same producer. And it's very similar. Like after I figured that's out, I saw it. I'm like, oh, okay, I can see that. It's very fun. Well, I don't know.
Interesting.
I mean, those are one of those shows. Like I just put it in the background while I mess around on my laptop. You know what I mean? Like it just goes in the background. I sometimes look at it. Yeah.
Any tips or advice for new comedians out there?
Tips or advice for new comedians: just stay true to yourself. I think that's the it's like so many people want to go up and tell jokes that like oh let me go up and tell jokes about doing drugs or just like, and it's like, have you ever done drugs? No. Like don't why tell jokes about doing drugs?
Right.
Like, you can tell jokes about not doing them and being uncomfortable, maybe wanting to do them, but so many people try to write jokes because they see other people like, oh, he has a great set about this. I could tell jokes like that.
Right.
No, tell jokes about you, your life, your experience. That's what people want to know about.
Okay, all my jokes have some truth in it. Even the worst jokes have something, because that's how I came up with the idea, right? So this happened, whatever, and then I'm like, all right, how can I twist this to the darkest thing possible? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm saying,
That's cool.
I'm telling Bobby because he said, just be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Partially, I'm true to myself.
That's good.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for new comics, Flo?
No.
Just take improv classes.
Yeah.
And
Stay away from hookers.
stay away from hookers. And Tracy Morgan.
This is gonna be. By the way, if Tracy Morgan wants to come on, anytime.
If he remembers the night,
No, he probably doesn't.
he does not.
He's
Can you
had
imagine-
many of those nights, I'm
Like
sure.
imagine, every night for him is like that.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, like I think that he might still have like a fist imprint on the door at the La Quinta Inn on Bay Meadows, but
They put a frame around it, and it says Tracy Morgan.
Was here.
Yeah.
R.I.P. whore.
Or number 3. Oh. All right, well, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah.
Absolute
It was awesome
pleasure.
having you.
I hope you had a good time. We definitely had time. Your stories are insane. Like,
Yeah,
sitting
I wasn't
there, I'm like,
expecting that. I'm
whoa.
glad you came with
That's
some
crazy.
cool stuff.
I'm glad you came on.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. This is my first podcast.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm excited
Yay.
about.
You've got a place in my heart.
Oh, thank
Yay.
you. All right, plug your socials where people can find you.
Oh, okay, absolutely. So BobbyParkerComedy.com and on Instagram, Bobby Parker Comedy. I try
Keep
to
it
make
simple.
enough.
Try to make it easy.
Because mine is insanely difficult, and people are like, "What? What is that? What?" I'm like, "I need to change that." So mine is IamStandup.com, and somewhere I am Mehesz, which is my last name. Nobody can.
No.
I don't even use the last name.
Nobody.
So anyway, yeah, find me somehow. And Flo, plug yours.
Flow funny.
Yay! All right, let's clap one more time to finish it up.
Thanks again.
Thanks again for
Appreciate
coming
having
on.
you.
Pleasure.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah, Psst, did you hear that? We got the lowdown on the streets where the talk's at. From the hood to Hollywood, we spilling all the tea. Ain't no secret safe, no, we bring the heat. We dropping names and we dishing the dirt. Psst, did you hear that? Spreading rumors like crack, ain't no turning back. We the real OGs taking it to the airwaves. Psst, did you hear that? Getting the scoop, all the celeb facts, you better listen up, cause we run this podcast.